Well, Savannah, that was not the game one that we were really expecting or wanting or hoping for last night in AAC. We're recording this a little bit later. We decided to ease into our Sunday morning after another game one loss because we have a lot of 8:30 starts coming. And we decided to sleep in for once because we're not going to get that much longer throughout this round at least, and probably into second round if the Stars advance. But after another game one loss, they're 2-9, I believe, in their last 11 games in game ones. It's just another regularly scheduled programming loss in game one for the Dallas Stars. I'm not worried. A lot of people are, but I'm not worried. Welcome to Clean Sheet of Ice, a Texas hockey podcast. I'm your host, Don Strankman, joined always by Savannah Humoller. How are we doing?
We're doing good. We're a little tired. I didn't get much sleep after the game last night, even though things kind of wrapped up early. I just kind of kept tossing, turning, tried to sleep in a little bit this morning. And the Stars did schedule a practice for today. So we're going to head over there, see what the deal is. But yeah, just not an ideal night for the Stars. My prediction went a little bit south, but it's okay. I think that happened with everybody that was pulling for the Stars.
Yeah, and you made the point to point out like game ones aren't, it's not the trend. Maybe it just is. Maybe it is the trend and we were just wrong. Because like, yes, different coaching staff. The streak really started with Rick Bowness in 2022. The game one loss to Calgary where they lose in 7. I think that's the only series in round 1 or 2 that they have lost game one and lost the series. And that was the very first one of these 11 series of game one. So I'm not too worried. It was a stinker last night. The first period I thought was fine. I didn't think it was exceptional. I thought it was just fine. I thought the refs were a little in it, a little too much. And me and Sam Nessa were like, yeah, I can't, or no, it was Robert Tiffin. We were making a joke up in the Admiral Club yesterday, pre-game before goalie's press conference. And we're like, well, you're supposed to wear neutral colors if you're a reporter because we're all neutral reporters. We were all making jokes. And I was like, I'm wearing green. I'm the most neutral out of everybody because I'm wearing both teams' colors right now. And he's like, well, I have a zebra shirt underneath because I root for the referees. And I was like, can't wait for them to make their presence known tonight. And buddy, did they ever. 8 penalties across the board there and a 4-on-4. So that was not fun. But I thought the first period was fine. I didn't think it was particularly good. I didn't think they had the same jump that the Wild necessarily had. But I thought they competed well in the first period. And then everything else was an absolute disaster, I think, after that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the team didn't necessarily show up to the best of their ability. There were moments in the game where, you could see a little spark in there and you're like, oh, there's some good shots on the net. There's maybe some momentum happening here. But I think what it came down to is the Minnesota Wild just had way more control, both defensively and offensively. They were able to control their zone so much better than the Stars were. And the amount of space they were able to find on Jake Oettinger, obviously you're missing a little bit of defense on the Stars end, but the space that they were able to find to get the puck in the net, they did leave some wide open shots. Kaprizov is one of those big ones. So yeah, I think things kind of fell, and even Glenn talked about how the first and second period were just really not great for them at all.
Yeah, before we go into the full deep dive of game one, a loss 6-1 to the Minnesota Wild at home, 4:30 p.m. game. It's a weird time. I want you to hit that subscribe button. We've got coverage all playoffs long. We're going to have a game or a podcast after every single game. I'm going to split up our game preview. So they're going to be in this episode for game 2 preview. It's going to be in this episode. So if you want to tune in until the end, awesome. If you want to save it for Monday, because this is going to come out on Sunday, if you want to save that part, wait till Monday. I'll have it up at midnight on YouTube and on podcast platforms. So hit that subscribe button on Clean Sheet of Ice. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers. We tried to hit it before the playoffs. We didn't hit it, but we're pretty close. I think we're just over 40 away from hitting 500 subs. We'll give away a Colin Blackwell signed sweatshirt when that happens, and another When the Stars Align 2026 Texas Hockey Playoff shirt designed by Gus up on apollohou.store. Link in the description below. We're going to give one of those away as well at 500 subs. 2 separate giveaways at 500. Like, you're not going to win both things. We're going to have 2 people that win things. So hit that subscribe button. Stars loss, right? You mentioned the shots, like they weren't too bad. I thought I noticed that in the first period. It was kind of 7-7, 8-7. It ended up ending at 11-8 in the first period. I thought that was like a pretty good sign that they were just putting pucks on net, because I think goalie has mentioned that in the middle of the year, somewhere in January, I believe he was talking about grade A++ chances versus A chances or B chances and that kind of stuff. And he said sometimes you need those third and fourth liners to go out there and just put those B chances on net, pepper him a little bit, get him out of his rhythm maybe, or make him find a rhythm. And then you get the Miko lines out there, the Robo lines out there, and they can get those great A++ chances that kind of mess with him because he's maybe a little out of his rhythm because he wasn't getting a lot of shots. Now he's getting a ton of shots, expecting things. It throws him out of rhythm, whatever. I thought they did a good job at that in the first period. And then obviously had the same amount of shots in the second period and then more shots in the third period. At that point, it did not matter after the second period because I think you had maybe one shot on goal in the first 5 minutes of the second period, and you were down, was it 3-0, 6:30 or 4-0, 6:30 into the second period. It was an absolute disaster class to start that second period. The Wild were buzzing beyond belief at that point.
Well, when you look at their rookie goaltender that was selected for game one, Jesper Wallstedt, he did an incredible job throughout the game. I mean, the shots that the Stars did take, they did come at him, and he just made some really good saves. There were a couple ones that hit the post a few times, but really this all goes credit down to Wallstedt. Like, he did a phenomenal job for Minnesota, and that gave the Wild an ability to go on offense and just stay in the Stars' end and just score. So he did a good job. Their defense showed up, and their big guys showed up in really key moments. And it was really dominant. But I think the goaltending was the winner of this whole thing too.
Yeah, and I think it starts with the defense, right? The breakouts, we've seen the Stars being practicing that a lot over the last month. I think what goalie said in his pregame press conference was that they've been studying the Wild a lot more. Like, basically, the video team is grabbing all of the Wild games as opposed to everybody else's games for the last month and a half. I think 6 to 8 weeks maybe. They've been pulling Wild games more often than they have been, so they've been looking at it more often than they have been. They've been prepared for this matchup. They've been breaking out practices, all that kind of stuff a lot recently, working on the breakout, 2-on-1s, 2-on-2s, 3-on-2s, those kinds of things. And they didn't do a good job of that last night. I thought the Minnesota defense crashed very well. I think the Stars were maybe a little lazy at the blue line. Right as they crossed, it was either Miko, Robo, Wyatt, whoever, they would immediately try to pass it when they may have had a lane where they make one move on a defender and they can get to the open ice. I thought they did a kind of a poor job of that. I thought Matt Duchene was maybe the best of it last night. I thought he was able to get into the zone, get to that right side of the ice to his little half turn and set up the way he likes to have this puck on his stick where he's facing the entirety of the ice and get things open. I thought he did the best job of that last night. I think everyone else was deferring a little bit too much. And then you saw it later in the game with Wyatt, with Miko. They're all starting to do one move, basically getting into the zone, getting pressure down there. And it was just too little too late. Essentially at that point, I think the little flip passes at the blue line are just, they may need to stop because the Wild are really good at intercepting those and then turning it around. Like you saw that with, I believe was it the Hartman goal? I can't remember what it might've been the Hartman goal.
Yeah, that was in the second period. Yeah.
They turn it around right at the blue line. They get pressure. And it was just kind of chaos, and that was a deflection, I believe. But overall, just not a good second period. The first 7 minutes of the second period, you just got absolutely clobbered. And that was kind of the tail of the game, right? You had a Wyatt Johnston, Mikko Rantanen 2-on-1 opportunity. Wyatt just barely gets clipped by the glove there of Wallstedt. And I don't know. It was fine. Too many giveaways. 14-8 is the giveaways there. And I think half of them happen at the blue line. The hits, you're within 10, 49-39. Penalty minutes, you both had 10 each. You both had the same amount of power plays. So, like, can't really complain about anything outside of the giveaways. Near shots on goal were kind of competitive, right? 28-29. Minnesota just made you pay, and that's all it was.
Yeah, and the thing is with this series as a whole is I think about the fact that Minnesota here is going to give it their all. They have not beaten the Stars in the postseason. Stars are 2-0 against the Wild in playoffs. And I think when it comes down to even the storyline for like Bill Guerin and everybody there, like he needs to execute. Like Minnesota wants to figure out how they can move on to the next round. They're putting their team together. They've been trying to place this team to the best of their ability. That's why they bring in Quinn Hughes. That's why they make all the big trades that they have. So they're doing it big and they're going to play out. I think when it comes to Dallas, if you lose this first round, things are set in stone still here in Dallas. You're still going to have Glen Gulutzan. You're still going to have all of these probably main character guys for the most part. Not a lot of turnover. With the Wild, I think that they'd probably flip a few things around. So they're like, we need to put our team together now and take it into that next round. So I think that they're playing as hard as they can, and it showed last night for sure.
Yeah, they make that trade for Quinn Hughes, and he's only under contract through next season. So, like, if you don't make the playoffs next year, this is the one run that you get. If you make the playoffs next year, it might be only 2 runs with Quinn Hughes. You went all in for him. You traded a lot of former first-round picks. While on paper, it wasn't like an exceptional thing. I think there was one guy that had a lot of potential. The other 2 were just fine depth pieces. And then you also give up another first-round pick, I think, in that trade. So you went all in, right? You traded for Quinn Hughes. You paid Kaprizov. You've already got Boldy and Faber and everyone else under contract. Like this is the
they
team.
Have a good team. Like they're the team, and it needs to be that team for the Wild to execute. And I think a 6-1 win in the American Airlines Center, regardless of whether it's a game 1, because that first question that Gully answered last night was, I didn't even know what the record was in game 1s. Like he's just there to day of, this is the game, win or lose, you know?
Yeah. And I think us in the media and a lot of fans pay attention to stats. And based on what I've learned over the last 2 seasons, through all the press conferences, through talking to players and everybody,
it doesn't matter.
5% of the players care about stats.
Yeah.
I think it's Robo. Robo's the one that cares. Like he knows analytically and hockey IQ and all those kinds of things. He pays attention to all that. To an extent. But like goalie doesn't care. I talked to Jake last year in the exit interview. I asked him, I was like, hey, you're getting a lot of shots on net on you. Like you're having to save 35 out of 36 or 39 out of 41. Like that's a shitload of shots. Do you ever pay attention to that? Or would you rather see like a little less shots? And he's like, my job is to stop pucks. It doesn't matter how many come in my, exactly. Like it doesn't matter. Like it could be 18, it could be 35. Those don't matter to me. Yeah. And I was like, okay. So I was just curious what goes on their minds. I think we pay attention to stats way too much. And I think that's a problem with fans, a problem with media, because it is interesting to see.
Totally.
Right? The game 1 things and all that. But at the end of the day, historical stats don't matter. That 2022 team that started this game 1 streak, that was Jake Ottinger's first playoff series. He's played 1 billion playoff games since then.
And you know what? Stats are a storyline. Okay. It gives you something to talk about, but it doesn't factor in the moment of what's actually happening. And that carried into even last night, even though the Stars had a better special teams, more so than the Wild this year. They had the edge over the Wild. The special teams for both the power play and the penalty kill did not really show up last night. Like things are going to happen game by game. And, even this game 1 stuff, it's got to be let go at some point. But
yeah. What did you think about the refs last night?
I think there were a few calls that they didn't necessarily, there were a few penalties that they didn't call. That's for sure. But at the same time, I think that the Stars did go to the box a little too much. And I almost look at that, that Tyler Myers first one, which that was an apparent penalty. Like clearly he was called for. It was an elbowing. And you know what? Like he's going to go to the box. Of course, Minnesota is able to execute on that. But it's just like, where can we find moments where we can stay out of the box? This is going to be a physical series, but the Stars definitely it was not good.
Yeah. I thought the refs called too many, like by a long shot, based on what happened in the first period, where it seemed like every time the Stars went behind the net that the Wild were either hooking or holding the player with the puck. I've noticed that a bunch. And then they started calling all of them in the third period. And I was like, okay, you can't just switch up the way you're calling the game mid-game and all that kind of stuff unless things are getting out of hand. And they hadn't at that point. There wasn't a lot of physicality after the whistle and stuff outside of like normal little scrums where you're grabbing guys off the goalie, those kinds of things. I didn't think that was too bad until the third period. I thought the holding stuff, they should have let that go. And that was in favor of the Stars, by the way. Like I know there's going to be a bunch of Wild fans in this episode because they're going to come in and gloat. Those were penalties that helped the Stars. I thought those should have been let go if you weren't calling them in the first period because they went both ways. I thought the elbowing on Zuccarello, like he's going in for the hit. Zuck kind of dips into it. I've seen it go both ways where it doesn't get called and gets called. That's fine. You called it. That it is what it is. It's 6'8" versus 6 foot. It's a big.
It's gonna be seen. Yeah.
And then that slashing penalty on Essa right after is a little soft, but like it's the playoffs, so I'd rather not be soft calls. I'd rather them be like, yeah, you gotta call that. The high sticking one for Miko later in the game, I believe, right?
Yep.
The stick never touched his face. Wasn't in his vicinity. It was several feet away, and they called that one. I thought that was bullshit. The
he even looked confused on that, yes. On the video board.
He's screaming at the ref. He's like, I didn't touch him. The cross check that happened to Dutchy on the blue line, I thought there was a penalty before they called the cross check. I thought there was a blatant hold because he gets turned completely. He gets free of it and then gets a little bump on his butt and it falls down. Didn't think they should have called cross checking. I thought they should have called holding there. So I just thought the refs were maybe a bit inconsistent. That slashing 4-on-4, 2 sets of penalty, thought that was horseshit. Maverick Bork going for the puck. He's trying to stick lift and all that kind of stuff. Wasn't really a slash. And then Boldy full on baseball swings on the Mavericks calves. Like that should not have been a 4-on-4. That should have been a normal play versus a penalty away from the play. So I thought the refs were too inconsistent and I thought they called too much. I thought they called it like a regular season game. Yeah. That's why I'm upset.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I do have to say, and I'm sure Stars fans will get a little mad at this, and even Glenn said it last night, they did not play last night like it was a playoff game.
No.
They played like it was a regular season, middle of the year type of game. That's what it was. And so that's exactly why you take a 6-1 loss to the Wild in game 1. So I think tomorrow's game, Monday, is going to be extremely telling. And I think what's going to be interesting about this is to see how hard Glen Gulutzan is going to be from a coaching perspective to this team right now. It also goes to leadership. What is Jamie Benn doing right now to help with this team to get them a win on Monday evening? I mean, you look at Pete DeBoer, who is like a very kind of hard coach, no nonsense. If they lose a game, they're having a full team practice the next day. And I think last night, Glenn scheduled a practice for today. We're going to see how his coaching methods kind of fall into play here because this is his first real big playoff season as an NHL head coach. And how is he going to coach these guys up? What conversations is he going to have with Jake Oettinger, the defense, and your top guys for scoring? I think it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. And the ref conversation was just to see how you viewed it as well. Cause I watched the other 2 games, the Canes game and the Penguins games last night. The refs were not calling anything.
Interesting.
It had to be the most blatant penalty of all time where they could not let it go. I mean, Sidney Crosby's over there cross-checking away from the play at the bench, like full on to Claude Giroux, like all these kinds of things. Like it was very physical and very playoff-like hockey, which is what I would prefer if we're going to be in the playoffs. I would rather the refs act like it's the playoffs.
Right.
I felt like there was enough of the soft calls, or there was too many soft calls as opposed to the ones where you actually had to call it. There was a few that they actually had to call. There was a few that they probably should have just let go because it's playoff hockey. That was my opinion, because that went both ways, because there was a lot of soft ones that helped the Stars and there was a lot of soft ones that helped the Wild. So that's the only reason I pointed out the Stars did not play well. What do you think about goalie's quote right after the game about Jake? Someone did ask him. That guy asked the worst questions, by the way. I don't know his name. I don't know who he works for. Every time he shows up, which is not very often, asks the worst questions. He asked Jake about Trump and Kash Patel after the Olympics. It's like that. He just won the Olympic gold medal. What are we trying to bring him down for? And then last night he asked about Otter, and he's like, do you ever think about pulling Otter after that 3rd goal?
Yes. Okay. This guy. Yeah. I was like trying to remember which question it was, but
worst questions of all time. He asked goalie if he thought about pulling Otts after the 3rd or 4th goal in that second period.
I'm going to have to come back to this. I need to figure out specifically who it was. But yes, I know that was not a good question. Like, obviously Jake was not going to get pulled in that game. I'm sorry, but like, you're not going to pull your goaltender in the second period being down. Like, it's a game 1. It's going to be okay, everybody. It's going to be okay.
And the other thing is like, all right, that power play goal, 6 set up. That was a lot of a tic-tac-toe, very Stars-esque. You leave him open in the slot. Defense wasn't there. Con Blackwell, I think, was the trailing guy coming down from the forward group trying to help out the defense. Miro was in the corner with Kaprizov. Tic-tac-toe to Joel Eriksson. That's a really good power play goal. It's not a lot you could have done there to help Jake out. It was kind of just a wide open net against Jake. Sure, you want him to save it, but you killed off most of that penalty too. I think you got a minute and a half out of that penalty. You were doing really well, but you couldn't get the puck cleared to get a change in. So you got tired guys on the ice. The Kaprizov one, hell of a fucking shot. What is he supposed to do there? Is he supposed to have his head on the corner of the goal at all moments in time, especially from that spot with Kaprizov? That area is not open. Like, that's not a shot that 99% of the NHL can make. Kaprizov is just the 1%.
It's a Kaprizov goal. And he had a great setup from even Quinn Hughes on that. It was open. Jake did not have enough time or space to get over there. He should have read the play a little bit better. I mean, it was a wide open angle, but he didn't have enough time with Kaprizov. Come on.
And the defense had pinched onto the other side of the ice, so there's no defenders over there with Kirill Kaprizov over there. That is a defensive breakdown. Sure, you want Jake to slide a little over, but whatever. Not blaming him there. The Hartman one is a crazy deflection that's going 5 feet wide of the net. Mm-hmm. Can't blame him there. And then the fourth one, the Matt Boldy one, right? Is that the one that just got lost because the defenders weren't? This is what goalie mentioned. He's like, we weren't winning puck battles in that first 15 or the first 25 minutes of the game. Like, just we're not winning puck battles. We had the opportunity to clear the puck. We had the opportunity to get out of the zone. We couldn't get out of the zone. They played harder. They won the puck battles. And that's what happened on the Matt Boldy one. So it's like, really 2 or 3 of the 4 goals that happened in that first 25 minutes of the game, you can't really blame Jake for. There's a lot of defensive breakdowns, and it was a lot of puck battles lost. And at the end of the day, you're leaving him out to dry. So goalie's like, never considered pulling Jake. He's just started calling out the defense, puck battles, all of those kinds of things, which hopefully is a wake-up call for the defense.
Yeah, and I think also one thing that I even kind of recognized last night is Minnesota, obviously, they have big bodies. They have a big team. But even Liam Bichsel was taking hits last night from Minnesota. He was getting put on the boards. And if Liam Bichsel is getting nailed, like everyone else is, they were having a rough time at things. Minnesota just was way better at checking and just like staying in the zones that they needed to stay in. But they put a lot of pressure on the Stars defense, and it showed heavily. You could see the defense in different zones that they were not supposed to be in, different sides. Their plays were not set up correctly. So that's just something to keep an eye on for tomorrow.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they just didn't play hard enough. Minnesota played way harder. They won the puck battles. You create your own puck luck. A lot of crazy things happened in that first 5 minutes of the second period, and they were playing way harder. They were winning all the puck battles. You create your own puck luck. Me and Dom said that all last season long during the playoffs. Colorado fans hated it, but you create your own puck luck. It is what it is. We didn't create any last night. So not a fun loss, 6-1, game 1. Last year, Stars didn't have Robo, didn't have Miro in all of round 1 against the Colorado Avalanche team that was rebuilt. You got Landeskog back in game 2. You had all the things, right? Or game 3 maybe. You lose game 1, 5-1 last year in a pretty similar fashion. You didn't play hard. You didn't win the puck battles. You were out physical. You didn't have a lot of shots on net. You didn't put quality chances on net. You didn't do any of that last year in game 1 against Colorado. Similar team this year to what we have last year. Just a different coach, different system, different setup. But same thing happened this year in game 1. So as of right now, not the panic button staying in the closet. I don't even think about the panic button right now. Not even worried.
No, not worried. Happened last year against the Avs in game 1, went down 5-1. Stars came back, won it in OT in game 2. Game 2 is where things are going to start to shift a little bit. Like, I think if the Stars are able to get a win tomorrow night, you're in a good position. But if you go down against the Wild and then you're going to Minnesota to play them in their barn, it's going to be a little tough of a hill to climb. So tomorrow is going to be extremely telling. I think we'll get a little bit more information at today's practice. Tomorrow they'll have a morning skate. We'll see where everyone's kind of pacing. Even just little tiny things to keep an eye on. Miro Heiskanen, yes, he played last night. Is he 100%? Maybe not. And I'm just saying, yes, he did play. He's probably feeling good, but they need him for the postseason, even if he might not be 100%. That might also be the case with Quinn Hughes. Even though he played last night, he wasn't looking too great after the game. he was still looking a little ill. So we'll see exactly what happens. And I think also one thing to follow, they may switch up some of the lines as well.
Mhm.
Michael Bunting scratched last night, saw him in the elevator on the way up to the press box. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And he obviously was scratched. So maybe he might rejoin the lineup. We'll see who comes out. Those are just things to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, I thought the lineup was interesting because this is a shout, not a shout out, but like stop doing this. National reporters, ESPN, Athletic, everybody else, they're asking things for their pieces, and I understand that they have more viewers necessarily because they're national, whatever. There are still important questions to ask that the local media needs to get. Hikes, like, he needs to get his question in. He does everything for the Stars. He works for the Stars. He should get questions. No one asked about the lineup last night, so we didn't know if Otter was going. We knew Otter was going, but we didn't have confirmation that Otter was going to be in net. We didn't know who was going to be on that fourth line because you have a billion dudes that can go on that fourth line right now, right? We just didn't know until they came out on the ice and we're like, okay, Bunting's not on the ice. That's weird. Thought Bunting would be in there. Trade for him. It's going to be a depth piece, first line, whatever it may be. You think Bunting's going to be out there, and then we see Blackie and Ernie. We're like, okay, I was fine with that because I love Blackie and Ernie, but like, you thought Bunting would be out there, and like, we just didn't know until they came out on the ice like it's fucking 1985 and there's no Twitter or anything like that. Like, we need to ask those questions, national media. So like, please let that happen next time instead of taking 3 questions in a row. This is the complaint episode. Sorry. Game 2, I'd like to know who's in the lineup pre-game, or at morning skate. I'd like for that question to be asked.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I think one other significant piece of information that we did get pre-game yesterday was Roope Hintz. Do not expect him in this series. I don't think he's coming into this series. I think if we make it into round 2, we'll look at it then, but I would not even expect him at all.
Yeah, so they said they're going to know more on Monday. So I would assume that's going to happen in between morning skate and the game. So we're not going to know until post-game on Monday. Or maybe even Tuesday before they fly out to Minnesota for Wednesday's game. I don't know if they're going to fly out. I would assume they're going to fly out after practice on Tuesday. But yeah, it's an interesting game 1, right? But we didn't know anything heading into game 1. We didn't know what the lineup was going to be. It's very strange. Game 2, I would expect that we're going to be able to know what the lineup is. If there's going to be any lineup changes at morning skate, I would assume Mike or someone else will ask that question because we all were like, who's playing tonight after the pre-game one. And it was a weird time because it was a 3:15 press conference for a 4:30 game. We usually have morning skate. It was weird. It was a whole mess, and we're in a completely different room. It was a lot going on yesterday. But game 2, the things I'm looking for. The first 5 to 10 minutes, I noticed one kind of good hit from the Stars, and then the rest of it, I thought they were just kind of skating through the motions. There weren't a lot of physical. There wasn't a lot of just absolute crackers of a hit. Ernie, when he got out there, he threw a couple, but outside of that, the first shift, it was Wyatt Johnston, right? When the puck went into their defensive zone, got cleared by Minnesota, he threw one right there on the benches, right into his hip. Good hit, physical. You could hear from the press box. I was like, all right, the boys are ready to go. And then outside of that, they were not. And then Liam Bichel was getting crunched on the boards. Like, I think I need to see that in the first 5 minutes, and I need to see one offensive possession that they had in that third period or late in the second period where they were just cycling the puck and they were getting guys off the bench coming in, changing in an offensive possession. I want to see one of those in the first period. I want to see them like get into a groove with either the Dutchy line or the Miko line. Just see one of those just kind of just snappy, snappy passes, crisscross, tic-tac-toes, getting good quality chances, getting the rebound, or if they don't get the rebound and it's a save or it goes up into the netting, just keep staying out there and keep the pressure on those boys down there. So I want to see that in the first period because we didn't see that in the first period. There wasn't a lot of hits. They got to be more physical. They got to come out ready for game 2.
I would like to see a little bit more out of not only, of course, your top line guys. I think that they did have some good chances last night. Even Jamie Benn had a really good look at some point. That was a really good save from Wallstedt. But I would like to see even those bottom 6 guys be able to just play the puck a little bit better. I really didn't see much out of them. Like normally we'll see that fourth line they're out there and they're grinding and they're just, they're doing their best, but you didn't really see much out of majority of those lines. And so I think they're going to look at the lineup. They'll make some tweaks to it, but even seeing some of the bottom six guys just move a little bit better, find the defense, find different zones, some space, I think that's going to go a long way for the Stars.
Yeah, I thought the Blackwell, Ernie, Foxa line was pretty good in the first period. I thought they might have been the best line in the first period alone. The rest of the game, however, there wasn't any good lines. Thought the first period, Otter looked really good. I thought the defense had a bunch of mishaps and everything, and Otter kept them in that game in the first period, and then it just blew open in the second because they kept making defensive miscues where they weren't covering a guy on the wing, where it's Kaprizov, Boldy, whoever, like the guys that you shouldn't leave open were just like wide open. And I think that was kind of the problem. So I think defensive, maybe communication, breakdowns, those kinds of things. That's what I'm looking for. But the physicality has to start first. That's the main thing I'm looking for in the first 5 to 10 minutes is like,
totally.
Are we getting Robo big hits? Because Robo will throw those hits in the playoffs. He didn't throw any last night. I thought that was interesting. We didn't see any from Leon really until the third period. He threw a big reverse hit there in the corner, which was pretty fun in the third period. That got the fans like kind of excited for 5 seconds. Wyatt was kind of the one on the top line that was throwing hits. I thought Dutchy was really physical last night.
He was good.
We didn't really see last year in the postseason.
I was impressed with Dutchy. He had a good game last night. I feel like he was putting his all out there.
I feel like he was the best out of the top 6. I think Robo was really good too on the offensive side, but I think everyone was just a little too lazy on the entries, a little too lazy on the hits. Even though they had 39 hits last night, I thought they were just lacking in that department the first 25 minutes of the game, and that's where they lost the game. So
yeah,
got to come out ready.
Got to come out ready. Tomorrow, like I said, it's going to be very telling, but we'll see if there's any updates. It's crazy. This is the playoffs. I felt the energy last night. Like I was like, it's here. So all of the crowd was incredible. The Stars fans were like, you guys were rocking it the first like half of the game, I'll say.
Yeah.
Towards the end, everyone started leaving, but it's okay. We even saw some fan sightings. The Glass Banger guy is back.
I tweeted about him this morning.
Who else is back? Who else did we see?
The Rocket behind the bench was not there. The blonde girl, she's not there, but she did tweet last night at Biz Nasty from Barstool that she will be in attendance soon. So
great, wonderful.
That could be the tides that
boost the momentum. That's fine.
Could be the tides that
whatever
turn.
You have to do, sister.
Yeah. It's always funny when she shows up because like things go really well when that happens. And then fake Jared Bednar last year when he showed up, thought that was funny. Do you know the story behind the fake Jared Bednar? Dutchy got a big kick out of this last year when I told him.
No, is he a Dallas local?
No, so I think he's a Colorado guy, but he travels to the away games and sits behind the Colorado bench a lot of the time. I don't know if he did it. I don't know if he's doing it for game 1 today on Sunday for Colorado, but he looks just like Jared Bednar, same hair, color, all that kind of stuff. The thing is he buys 2 tickets behind the bench. He gets his friend to go in first, and during pregame skate and everything, or pregame skate, right? Warm-ups, Jared Bednar will come out and he'll see what suit he has on. And this guy has all of the suits in his car, shirt colors, suit colors, all that kind of stuff, and will change in the car before the game. His buddy will go scout what Bednar's wearing, so then he matches them completely. So like if he's wearing a silver suit with a maroon shirt, black tie, like he'll come in with that. He's got them all locked and loaded. And I told Dutchy that last year, and he got a really big kick out of that. He's like, that's fucking crazy. Like who does that? So we do have those kinds of people. People are dedicated.
I'm shocked. That is wild. That is some serious dedication. My only question is like, what does this guy do for work? Please, someone tell me. Like, I need to find that out at some point. How do you make a living?
Just like do that, all the time and get
glass seats?
Right behind the bench
and
too.
Travel to all the away games. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't go to all of them. I noticed him 2 times, I think, last year during the 7-game series. So there was 4 games at home. He was at 2 of the away games. So that's pretty impressive. So we just need the fans to show up again, just like they were ready for game 1. Game 1, the crowd was like incredible pregame. The Stars chant was really good, but like they do that countdown from 30 seconds and the crowd just gets louder and louder and louder during those 30 seconds. I thought that part was great. The pregame hype video the one after the Ralph Strangis one, which is what they put out on Twitter, which was also a phenomenal video, 2 minutes long. They put out another one just on the scoreboard. They haven't put it out on socials or anything. That one got me fucking ready. I was hyped up. I had goosebumps. The crowd was so good. I was already getting goosebumps, and they're doing the rally tales and everything. And then they showed that video. I was like, all right, I need to shake whoever's hand made that video, because that was a phenomenal video. I can't wait to watch it again for game 2.
Hey, you know what? The Dallas Stars game presentation is one of the best, if not the best, in hockey. They do a fantastic job putting this whole show together. They put a lot of thought into it. And, you know, I'm happy to like know all the guys in that room that put that all together. And they, you know, they have some good stuff in store for playoffs, and the fans, they love it. They're there, they're loud. And I'm excited actually for tomorrow night, even though it's a little late. You know that those dedicated fans on a Monday night with an 8:52 puck drop are going heavy. They're going at it.
How many margarita boots over under 40,000 consumed pregame?
The money that the AAC made were.
I saw someone tweet out $100 in alcohol, and it was the tumbler, the Stanley Cup Playoffs Dallas Stars tumbler, which is $45 pre-cocktail. By the way, you have to buy the tumbler for $45, and then you got to buy the cocktail on top of it, which is probably $18, right? The margarita boot was $40. Comes with the margarita, by the way, $40 margarita plus boot. So probably $20 the marg, $20 for the boot. I can kind of talk. Jack, I might have to send you one. I might do it. And then someone got the beer with the koozie, and they're like, this is $100 worth of alcohol, and it was 3 drinks.
Okay, I think that the best thing that we had the other day when we tested out all of the food for the media, it's got to be the churro. Like, I was like, this churro is insane.
Yeah, the Dubai chocolate churro was phenomenal. The Victory pretzel was pretty sick too. It was like a cinnamon sugar pretzel, like Auntie Annie's, like in the airport. I hammer those every time I'm in an airport. That was great. Thought that was phenomenal. The barbecue boil bucket, I don't know if that's what the name is. That was really, the rib was like lukewarm because it wasn't like made fresh at that point. By the time we were getting it and everything, they were putting it all in little sample cups and everything. The rib was phenomenal. I was astonished at how good that rib was. So if you do somehow get a bucket in the 300 level and you dump it on someone, you missed out. Like slightly biased tweeted out, he's like sitting in 326, dumping this on a family of 4 after the Stars get scored on. That was funny. Giant bucket. They have more things in store if they advance through the playoffs for that barbecue bucket, which is pretty cool. The Stanley Cup Finals one, if they make it there, obviously a long way to go. The topper on that's going to be phenomenal. That's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, the drinks, the food for the playoffs was pretty cool. And it's only ice. They're not having to change and put it on the hardwood this whole time. No Mavericks in the playoffs. I thought that was cool. The speakers breaking in the middle of the game last night, not fucking cool. Not fucking cool.
That's not good. Little audio issues there, but it's gonna be okay. We're gonna reset for Monday, everyone. Game 2. It's gonna be great.
A lot of rambles, a lot of food talk somehow on this podcast. But that's playoff hockey, baby. What can you do?
Exactly. You know what? We're gonna get through it, everybody. It's gonna be fine.
It's probably gonna be 8:48 or 8:52 puck drop tomorrow night on Monday night. We'll have this part out as a preview episode on Monday. So you can split it up and have more clean sheet of ice. Hopefully we'll have more clean sheet of ice pretty much every day of the week throughout the playoffs. I'm going to try to break it up in that way. Obviously follow Savannah on Twitter. She's going to get all the nuggets for us at practice today and morning skate tomorrow. I've got an appointment tomorrow, so I won't be there. But I will be in the building for game 2, a 8:30 game, which is going to be 8:52, which means we're not getting home till 1 a.m. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Win game 2, nothing else matters.
And I will be traveling to Minnesota, everybody. So I'll get you the inside scoop from.
Are you going for game 3?
Yeah. Because guess what? I did get tickets to the Vikings draft party on Thursday night. So I was like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to go to the game on Wednesday, Thursday night, Vikings draft party.
And then are you staying for game 4 as well on Saturday?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Wow. Look at you go.
Dedication.
We're going to have a real insider this time on the road because I was literally only hoping for a Stars-Panthers Cup final because I have a place to stay in Miami. It's like, I knew where I had to go. Like I had a car there, I had a place to stay. I was ready. I was like, hey, had it cleared with the parents. I was like, I'm going to need the condo. They're like, yeah, go for it, pal. And then they lost. It almost worked though. Panthers were there. It was half right. I had to get approved too. That was the other thing. But what can you do? Game 2, Monday night. Be there, be loud, be proud, get some drinks, get some margarita boots. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get a win. Nothing else matters. Go to Minnesota. And then it's a brand new series after that. So that'll do it. Savannah, you got anything else?
Nope. We'll see what is happening today. I'll be tweeting out all of the information that I get, and I'm going to take a really good long nap while I'm watching playoff hockey later. It's going to be great.
Best time of the year. Shout out to Savannah. She's going to get your tweets. Go follow her on Twitter. She's going to have all the updates for us on Clean Sheet of Ice for the next few days. And then obviously in Minnesota, she's going to have everything because she'll be there. So make sure you follow her. I'll put her Twitter down below in the description. That way you can follow her. It's easier to find her because it's like Sports Savvy with a billion Y's and maybe an underscore. I can't remember, but What can you do? That'll do it. Thanks for tuning in. Wild fans, thanks for tuning in. I know you're in here. That's fun. Game 1, it's over. Game 2, we're coming. That's it. Clean Sheet Advice, Texas Hockey Podcast.